So I don't do podiums well. So Dave Kulmann, Deputy Director here at the Commission. I've got 10 minutes. I've been cut down on time. I'm going to get the hook after 10, and that's just going to bring back painful memories of my high school baseball career. So I'm going to try to get rid of a couple of slides here. So I've planned on talking about 4 things. The first one was just some introduction information about the COGCC in case some of you don't know about that. If you don't know, come talk to me after, and I can definitely provide you the information about who we are, the structure. We have commissioners who are appointed by the governors. We have staff who report up to Matt Lepore, who you met yesterday. And we have over 100 people located throughout the states. We have strong regulations. We have 213 pages. There's a lot going on. And we do a lot of work to change our rules. As you can see in this graph, we've changed our rules several times since 2011 on, and to address some of the big topics that we have going on in the state of Colorado. And if I fall off of this, because I'm not looking, you guys may laugh, but make sure I'm okay first. So, second topic. So there are 2 things that we get a lot of questions from local governments. Number one, they like to know a little bit more about our inspection process and how they can get involved and how they can advocate for their citizens when it comes to oil and gas oil and gas operations. So I want to take a little bit of time to talk about those 2. So we do have 31 field inspectors within our field inspection unit. You've met Margaret Ash. She's the manager of that group. So she has 30 people under her who do field inspections. They are located throughout the state. They are in home-based offices near the oil and gas activity. So all 4 corners of the state. We got one person that lives in Steamboat Springs. I'm not sure how I can get that job. I need to try to find a way. That would be awesome. But they're near the activity. So last year, they did about 39,000 inspections. So when you say we have 54,000 active wells, on average, that's 1.4 years every well is inspected. Now, not every well is inspected every year or every 1.4 years. A lot of wells are inspected multiple times in a year, and some are a few years before they're inspected. And inspections occur throughout the entire the entire time of the oil and gas, from pre-drill all the way through drilling, completion, all the way through reclamation. We have a whole team dedicated to reclamation. You heard a little bit about that today. And follow-ups are done when needed. So I am not going to spend a lot of time on this slide, but people always ask, how do you know where to go to inspect? You have 54,000 wells. You have 31 inspectors. How do you know where to go? So we've created a new risk-based model on how we direct our inspectors where to go to each of these wells based on relative risk. So the key word in that sentence is relative, and I want to make sure everyone comes away with the word relative. So each well is assigned a risk factor, an overall risk weight, based on the factors listed there. Whether they're near people, the environmental issues, is it near surface water, is it near groundwater, is it near wildlife? Those are some of the factors that make up that second category that's in the light blue. And the third one is time. When was the last time it was inspected? And one of the biggest keys, biggest importance, is years in service. So as things age, they break down a little bit. They start hurting a little more. I'm 41. When I play baseball now, instead of 18, I'm hurting a little bit more. Mondays, I'm usually limping because I play on Sundays. So years in service, things could start to break down. So that's a big factor for us. And we saw that in a risk-based report that we published in 2014 that Margaret Ash spent a lot of time on throughout a couple of years ago. That's why it has a 30%. And then the last set are history. So reported spills in the location and corrective actions. So if there's a history of issues, we want to go back and make sure that they're fixed and they're being addressed. So we use this model now. This rolled out in March of this year, and we're working through it. And it's sort of a pilot now. We've actually built all these into a big old formula that spits out a risk factor weight all the way on the right-hand column, and each well has a score. Now, that's compared to each of the other wells. So if it's a high risk well, it's not absolute risk. It doesn't mean something's bad going to happen tomorrow or the next day. It just means based on these factors, it's a little bit more elevated in what we perceive as importance to go inspect than some of the other wells. That's what that means. So this is actually on our website. If you go under presentations, on our website you can see this entire presentation, including the slide. You can always email me if you can't find it. So that's inspections. I wanted to give you a little flavor. We're just not going out there picking the closest ones near golf courses or wherever. We're out there using a model where we're spending the time of those 30 inspectors as wisely as we can based on risk. So another question we get is how local governments can advocate for their citizens related to oil and gas. So what I'm going to present are a few things that we have, a few tools, but I want to just caveat that with this, what I'm going to say doesn't include any local government land use planning processes and stuff. I know those exist. So this is in addition to all of that. So I just want that to be caveated. First one is the LGD program, local government designee. If you're an LGD, raise your hand. I've talked to many of you. Quite a few of you. So I just want to thank you for actually participating in this program, being engaged. You all are very important to this program and very important to oil and gas regulation in the state of Colorado. So I do want to extend my thanks to every one of you for that. So we also have LGLs, who are COGCC employees, local government liaisons. We have Mark Morton over there. Raise your hand in the red shirt. Nancy Prince over there in the pink all the way in the corner. They're as far away as possible from the room, it looks like. They're on the east side and west. They really do like each other. So those are the two state employees that actually help facilitate and help LGDs whenever and wherever possible. So the LGD program is established in COGC rules, and it is a very unique program. Don't know of another state agency that has it. But the primary purpose is to provide local governments an opportunity to engage fully into our COGCC processes and collaborate with us. We like input from local governments. We want input from local governments. And this is one of the best tools to do it. This is a very good program, in my opinion. And you can see the map. I'm not sure why I have a red box around Nancy and not Mark. Must have missed it, so that doesn't mean anything. But you can see how they're divided. So LGDs have direct access into our processes and a direct communication pipeline. Their concerns receive a lot of attention from us, from our LGLs, obviously, but to me, to Matt, to the managers. There's a lot of information that comes from LGDs to us, and they receive our full attention. There are certain rights that LGDs have from notifications from us and from operators, anything from a, hey, we're about to spud a well, anywhere to a spill report, and lots of things in between when permits are submitted. And so notifications are good, but engagement's even more important, or equally important. And they're able to comment on permit applications to address the concerns of the local governments. They can request BMPs, best management practices, to be added. They can extend a comment period. They can do a host of things, request public meetings, request consultation with the CDPHE on potential impacts or stuff, and request a commission hearing if they don't like the decision made by staff, which would go in front of the full commission of the 9 people. So it's a very, very detailed program with specific rights, specific actions that they're allowed, and if they take full advantage of it, you get a lot of benefit from it. You can just talk to Kirby Wynn about that and how engaged he is and the value that he gets. At least I hope he'll say that. If not, I'll pay you. MOUs, Memorandum of Understanding, your operator agreements, we're seeing this a lot more where a community will negotiate with an operator for certain items they want that go above and beyond our rules. So we're seeing more and more of those. The one thing I want to comment on this is if you're going to go down that route, try to engage us somewhere along the way, because a lot of times what we're seeing is they develop this great operator agreement and then they say, okay, we got 20 BMPs, we want COGCC to slap them all on our permit. And sometimes, many times we can do that, but sometimes we can't. If one of your BMPs references your city code for, I don't know, fencing or something, there's certain jurisdictional limitations the COGCC has, and there's certain realities that we're not going to know and learn the city codes and the county codes of 64 counties and 300 and something municipalities. Our inspectors just can't do that. So engage us throughout that process so we can help out a little bit. We have a complaint process, public complaint process. So when people, citizens are impacted by oil and gas or feel they're impacted, they can go online. We have a website that's dedicated just to complaints. It's called Complaints. We're not very clever with how we name things, so complaints are named Complaints. And it's right there on our website, and we have clear instructions for how to submit it. So I don't know of any other oil and gas regulatory agency that has a complaint process that's this transparent and this easy. I know CDPHE has a process that you can hear about next, a health line. I just want to mention that we started ours first. So. Ooh, that's because you took the lessons from us. So, dedicated web page, clear instructions, an easy tool online tool for them to submit the complaint. And I think the fourth bullet is the most important. We do have a dedicated staff for receiving, processing, and resolving complaints submitted by the public. Fortunately, I should say, that person's on maternity leave now, so we're scrambling for the next few weeks. But we do have a dedicated staff member that just makes sure that each one of these complaints are followed through. We're doing the proper investigation, and we're working through that. And that's just a committee. So some of the upcoming projects, what are we working on now that we feel are pretty big? Noise right now from oil and gas operations. We've been studying this for a little bit of time with third-party consultants, CDPHE, Colorado State University, noise experts, people from Alberta who have gone through a very detailed noise, and technical staff from operators. So what we're trying to do is figure out how we can further reduce noise from oil and gas operations. Oil and gas operators have done a great job over the last few years of addressing noise, especially A-scale noise, which is the high-frequency noise that you hear. We still have issues with C-scale noise, which is more the low-frequency noise. Okay, thanks. So more on that. We're working to protect Colorado financially, working with making sure we have the financial assurance in case there's bankruptcies. We don't want bankruptcies, obviously, but in case there is, that Colorado is protected. We're going to finalize that risk-based model. We're going to tweak it as needed over the next 3 to 6 months. I showed it to you earlier. That's something we'll tweak. We talked about reclamation processes, so we're going to strengthen those. Some of those processes that were talked about earlier today, we make data more accessible online. We're going to keep working that. We have data downloads. Anyone that knows Microsoft Access and loves spending Friday nights working Access databases, that's your website. Providing guidance. You saw an example of some guidance on reclamation. We're going to keep doing that, and we're going to take a look at the LGD program and see how we can improve that even further. And we are working on a citizen's guide to the COGCC, so someone who wants to know more about us, there's a nice 20, 30-page document, hopefully not more than 20 actually, that just talks about us, who we are, what we do, et cetera, et cetera. So with that, I didn't get the hook, so that's good. I think that was about 10 minutes. Thank you for keeping me honest. But any questions we'll take afterwards, and if anyone wants to come talk to me after this presentation, let me know. Thank you. Want me to